So this will probably be a quick one. I am currently parked in Valley Forge. So there's probably the ghosts of Revolutionary War soldiers all around me right now. Um, I'm coming from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. It's been a long night. I did a double feature tonight. Grease 2 is what we're going to talk about tonight, and then I saw Freddy's Dead, the final Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, not really the final Nightmare on Elm Street movie, but whatever. Saw Grease 2 tonight with Lana and Dave, and Fallon and Sophie. So look, this movie gets a lot of bad rap, and I'm not a huge fan of the original Grease. I get it. I understand why people like it. I understand why people go to the sing-alongs and all that kind of shit. Never really did anything for me. I think the cast of the original one is stronger. I think the staging and the production is better. Robert Stigwood, as the producer, did a lot of stuff. Saturday Night Fever, Moment by Moment, the weird movie with Lily Tomlin and John Travolta, where they're love interest, but she looks like she could be a sister, and she gives him like a weird hand job, and then that is on the poster. Cinema Snob did a video of that years and years and years ago. I remember that movie being on cable a lot when I was a kid and just being like, what is this? But Grease 2, I saw Grease 2 before I ever saw Grease 1. Michelle Pfeiffer, Maxwell Caulfield. I like this movie a lot. And seeing it again tonight, it filled me with nothing but joy. I think this is a more fun movie than the first one. The songs aren't as strong. Again, the staging is not as strong. The production is not as strong. The cast is not as strong. But there's something more camp and fun about this one. I like the weird tangential threads to the first one. Maxwell Caulfield's character is related to Sandy, Olivia Newton-John's character from the first one, and our beauty school dropout returns, and there's like a couple returning characters that are like school people, but it's a completely new cast, and you have like Shooter McGavin from from fucking Happy Gilmore is in this one, and the voice of Bobby Hill is in this one. She's also from like the Louis C.K. shows. Lucinda Dickey is in this one from Break-In and Ninja 3: The Domination. I don't know. I get a lot of joy out of this movie, and I understand why people say, "Oh, it's one of the worst movies ever made," and it hurt a lot of people's careers. I mean, it didn't hurt Michelle Pfeiffer's career. She went on to be super, super, super successful. I think this is the first time that Fallon had ever seen this movie, but I know her friend Sophie, who's working on Sucks to Suck with us. She's a she works at a salon. She has a beauty school dropout tattoo and all that kind of stuff. This takes place the next year. Our new cast of seniors. You have an exchange student from Australia, and he falls in love with the new leader of the Pink Ladies, who's Michelle Pfeiffer, and she's just broken up with her boyfriend, who's the leader of the T-Birds. There's all these like fucking weird laws that the T-Birds and the Pink Ladies have to follow. I was like, it's like fucking Sharia law out here, man. And she has her Cool Rider song where she wants a guy who's a biker, and he's cool and he's dangerous and all this shit. So Maxwell Caulfield's character decides to, in a montage, learn how to build a motorcycle and then ride a motorcycle and then do like cool fucking like Evel Knievel tricks and shit like that. He takes on like the bad biker gang with like the pizza face guy, and she's head over heels in love with him, but she doesn't know who he is because he has the helmet and the goggles. Maxwell Caulfield's character even talks about, Michael, I think is his name, even talks about like Clark Kent in Superman comics and shit. And lots of songs about bowling as double entendres for sex, and sex education songs, and lots of jokes about boobs, and a whole song in a bunker about having sex, doing it for your country and shit. It's wild, and it's looser, and it's definitely not as good, but there's something about just the sheer camp value of it that speaks to me every time I see it, and I appreciate more and more every time I see it. And anybody who knows me knows I love fucking musicals, man. And growing up, I was so not a Grease person. I get it. I understand Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. Like, I get it. Like, that's star power right there. And the staging of all the musical numbers. You know what makes this one better? It doesn't end with anyone slipping the surly bonds of earth in a car. This ends with a luau. And you just move from set piece to set piece to set piece. And I don't know. I was smiling ear to ear while watching this one the entire time. And again, the songs aren't as good, and and there's not this big production value. Even Fallon was saying, because Fallon's worked on a lot of musicals, and Fallon's a singer. She was in a huge band at one point, and and the way they stage the musical numbers, it's not as bombastic as the first movie, or even Stigwood doing something like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band movie with the Bee Gees and with Peter Frampton, or doing Saturday Night Fever, which used all the Bee Gees music and was just like a fucking disco ejaculation all over the place. Although that movie, like, outside of like the disco shit, people forget like how dark the Saturday Night Fever is, with you got fucking like suicide attempts and Fran Drescher and shit like that. Like, that's a much darker movie once you look past just like the Travoltaing it up. Tom Cruise auditioned for Grease 2 and didn't get the part. Apparently Michelle Pfeiffer and Maxwell Caulfield did not get along. At one point, and Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta had both met about reprising their roles. I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they went with like a different story, and I'm glad that they were more willing to play fast and loose with it and be silly with it, and I don't know. I like this movie, man. Lana and I talk about this movie a lot, and I haven't seen it in a really long time. But watching it with an audience tonight, we were sitting up in the balcony, and all the people down below us were wearing like pink lady jackets or T-Birds jackets, or wearing leis for the Hawaiian, the luau scene and stuff like that. So you could hear them clapping along and singing along, and people throwing like little Rocky Horror style things in there once in a while. And I was like, this is fun, man. I love that there's a community of people who took this thing that fundamentally overarching, people say, oh, that's bad. It's a bad thing and nobody likes it. And, it hurt a lot of people's careers and shit like that. But eventually it finds its audience, be it people who saw it for years on cable or on video or whatever. You will eventually find your tribe. And this is one of those movies that found its tribe and is celebrated now for that. And I think that's fucking cool, man. That's one of the things I love about film, is that something can come out and be considered a failure, and then eventually, once people kind of discover it, of all different walks of life, from all different parts of the fucking world, they'll love that thing, and that thing means so much to them. There's so many bad movies that I cherish. I know when I die, like, some of my last firing synapses are going to be of these things that, by and large, if you said it to somebody else, they'd be like, oh, that's a fucking terrible movie, or I've never heard of that piece of shit. And that's what's cool about cinema. And it was cool to go and see it tonight on the big screen at the Colonial Theater. And then after the movie, Melissa joined me. After the second movie, Melissa joined me, and we went bar hopping a little bit. And tonight was a good night. I had a lot of fucking fun tonight. And I don't think I have more to say about Grease 2 other than, like, there's some songs that just make you smile, and they're not as memorable as the shit that's in the first movie, but there's something about them that just clicks with me and with Lana and with all the people who were in the audience tonight. So yeah, Grease 2. I like it way better than the first one, so we'll just leave it at that.